Hello, it's Brian here, aka Doodaddius. Spindles is my new iOS app for sleep, focus, meditation, calm, and many other uses. And Spindles takes more of a musical approach to these sorts of apps. There are a lot of different resources out there that some of them focus more on storytelling, therapy, or the use of soundscapes or binaural beats. And Spindles is more music based, along with soundscapes and binaural beats with that. And the interface is similarly organized like a music app. And it's pretty straightforward, but at the same time I wanted to walk you through it, show you some of the features, and suggest some ways that you can use it. And I'll say off the top that, just talking big picture, I think resources like this are going to become more and more useful for people in light of what I think are undoubtedly some challenging times we're going to have ahead of us. We've already been through so much with the pandemic and the fallout from that, but we're in for some more things, and I really hope this app can be a source of rest and calm and centeredness. And that's my hope and intention anyways. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it and talk about how it's organized and how you might use it. So the first thing to cover is the concept of a user versus your subscription. So as I was conceiving of this app, I tried dozens of other mindfulness apps and functional sound apps, and I really hate it when you download the app and you first go to log in and they immediately hit you with that screen that says 7-day free trial, but your subscription will kick in right after that 7th day. And it's an immediate turnoff to me usually. So I wanted this app to follow more of the idea where you download it, you get free access to it, in this case for 14 days, and then it presents you with the subscription options. So the important concept is to get into the app, you do need to sign in. And that is so the app can keep track of you and your preferences and your playlists and favorites and things. But it has nothing to do with a subscription. There's no commitment. And you can even sign in anonymously, where it just assigns a random code to your phone. And then after the 14-day trial, then you're presented with a subscription screen, which works through the iOS App Store. It's only iOS for now. I would like to do Android in the future, but I had to start here. So you'll have your user sign in, which is your password, your email and password, or whether you do it with your Apple or Google ID, and then your subscription, which is purely through the App Store and your App Store account. Just wanted to make sure that those two concepts were understood, and when you get presented with that user sign in at the beginning, you don't think that it's asking you to commit to anything. So at the end of that time, you'll see the subscription screen, which you can see at any time if you go to the settings page, and there's an option to manage subscriptions. And there are the usual monthly, annual options if you want the family sharing, or there's the mega lifetime access if you just want to pay once and have access to it forever. And there's a button at the bottom of that screen, which we'll go over down the road here, for discount codes if you're a nurse in the military, a student, an artist, or in a tough spot. You can email me through the contact page for a discount code. Okay, so we got all that out of the way. Let's move on now to the actual interface. So Spindles is organized like most apps out there with tabs along the bottom. And on the home screen, across the top, you're gonna find a row of tracks. Each of the pieces of artwork represent a track, and those are recently added. So as I add new content, which I'll be doing, you'll just kind of see things pop up there so you can see what's new. At the launch of the app, I chose to focus on 4 main areas of therapy or function, sleep, focus, which is especially around people that are managing ADHD, meditation, and then calm, which is loosely, for relaxing and especially to help ease anxiety for people who really struggle with anxiety issues. So those are the four main areas. So on this first page, there's below the recently added tracks, you'll see the 4 areas, a row for each one, with highlighted tracks in that area. So it's not an exhaustive list of tracks, but just the ones that are featured. And these will kind of change and morph over time as I feature different tracks and add tracks. And of course, music is not a linear thing. So I have composed these tracks for particular, imagining particular uses, but you might find that a track that I composed for sleep is just great for general relaxing, or a track that I did for focus and for studying might be useful for something else. So it's amorphous. I've organized it so that so you can find your way around and find tracks, and it's useful, but it's also, you can use it however you want, obviously. And I've tried to accommodate the different ways that you might use these tracks by using a keyword system, which we'll get into down the road here. So to play a track, on this home screen, you just click on the artwork, and similar to how Apple Music or Spotify work, it's going to open up a little mini player at the bottom, and you'll see the little mini artwork and the title, and then there's a tiny slider, and that is for the soundscape or a noisescape. So most of the new tracks that I've been making for Spindles has a piece of music and then a associated natural soundscape or noise that I've made on my modular system. This is the cool 360-degree microphone I use to record soundscapes. It really makes you feel like you're immersed in this 360 world. And the slider will help you control the level of that element relative to the music. So if you want to turn the soundscape off altogether, or you want more of it, you have control over that. It is a tiny slider, but fortunately, if you click on the artwork or the title there on the left, it's going to reveal the main player. And the main player will show you the quirky artwork in all its glory. You'll see 4 keywords for the function. So these are the primary uses I envisioned, whether it's sleep, meditation, or calm. You'll see those kind of main areas of use. And then 4 areas for musical attribute. So does the track have a beat, or is it more ambient? Is it a darker track, or brighter, or bassier? And so you'll see the keywords for that. And those are also going to come in useful later when we get to the filtering section. There's a description pane, which, especially for the new tracks, I've filled in information about the concept behind the track, the inspiration for it, the science behind it, and maybe for some of them some geeky information on how I produced it. Then you're going to see 4 buttons. They're pretty obvious, I think. The infinity sign is if you want to just loop that track over and over. The heart is to add that track to your favorites, or take it out of the favorites if it's red. And then the next one is for playlists. So you click on that one, you can create a new playlist to add it to, or you'll see existing playlist on the sheet that pops up, and you can add it to an existing playlist. The 4th button is a placeholder for now. I'm going to be adding the ability to download tracks to your iPhone. So if you're in a plane or somewhere where you don't have internet access, you could have access to these tracks that you download. But that's a feature that'll be coming soon. And then you will fortunately see a larger volume control for the soundscape. It'll describe the soundscape, and then you have the volume slider. And then the progress control for the music. You can scan the music, and it'll show you how long it is and where you are in the music typical stuff, and then the typical previous, play, and next buttons at the very bottom. And you just swipe down to dismiss the main player. The app uses the dynamic island and the lock screen. So if you have a track playing and you go to another track, you'll see up in the dynamic island what's playing, and if you hold on that, it'll open it up a little more and show you some more controls. If you click on it, it takes you back to the app. And the lock screen works in a similar way. So if you lock your screen, playing track information will show up there, and you can click on it to open the app back up. Okay, so the second tab is where you'll find all the tracks organized into albums and collections. Click on any image and it will reveal the tracks in that collection, and you'll see a description field that kind of describes what's going on with that collection, if it's dedicated to a specific function like sleep, or maybe some of the albums will be centered around a certain technique. So I have taken the soundscapes that go with a lot of the tracks, and there's an album of purely the soundscapes, so you can listen to those if you just want to listen to a soundscape, or same thing for binaural beats or the noise profiles. And then at towards the bottom of this list of albums, you'll find my whole Doodaddius catalog. The impetus for this whole project came about because I was getting feedback that a lot of my existing music was helpful for people in studying and things like that. So it's all down there, and it's keyworded and will come up in the filtering and searching you can do. So in the track list below, all the tracks on the album, there's a favorite. The favorite button is exposed, so you can add things to favorites quickly if you want, or you can click on it to open the main player page like before. And this albums page has everything, organized in different ways. And you will find some tracks will be in multiple albums or collections. So there might be one album with certain sleep tracks, and then there might be another sleep album that has a different focus, and you might find some crossover in there. But it's going to, for the most part, be more of a static collection of the whole thing, as opposed to the front page, which is going to be more dynamically changing over time as I feature different tracks. All right, so the third tab is my favorite area. This is the keyword filtering. At the top, you have a grid of a bunch of keywords, and you can either see all the keywords by function, so sleep or focus, and you can select it, or move the tab over and you'll see all the keywords for musical attributes. So like I was saying before, is it a track that has a beat to it, or is it more of an ambient track? Is it bassy or what have you? And you can select different keywords, and as you do so, all the tracks in the library are listed in a long list below, and as you select the keywords, it dynamically filters them out to just the keywords, just the tracks that match the keywords you've selected. And there's also a text field there where you can type in any variable you want, and that'll pop up as well. And then a reset button. This is a fun way to explore the whole catalog, and I think will be useful. Okay, so the fourth tab is where you'll find your favorites, which we've been talking about, and your playlists. So if you've favorited any track, the first thing you'll see on this page will be that favorites play. It's kind of a special playlist. So you'll see that up at the top. You can go in and move. If you hit the edit button in the top, you can move tracks around, move their order, or remove it from favorites. And then you'll see below that, if you've created any playlist, you'll see all the playlists you've created. And the edit button again will allow you to delete the playlist, or if you go into the playlist, the edit button allows you to modify the order of the tracks or delete tracks from the playlist. And I think the playlist will be an important area in terms of how I conceive of people using this. So for example, you might want to use the app just to help you fall asleep, and maybe you want it to just play for 15 or 30 minutes. So you could find a couple tracks that you like that are helpful for you falling asleep, make a playlist that this is my falling asleep playlist. Whereas others might want some tracks to play throughout the night or for a longer period of time. So you could make a longer playlist that kind of functions that way. So the playlist is kind of how you would do that. One request I've had is to have timers involved and alarms, and that's certainly something I'm going to look into implementing. But for now, the playlist is kind of how you would achieve that timer function. Okay, so we'll move along to the fifth and final tab, and this is where you'll find the FAQ and the settings. The FAQ is pretty extensive. I've wrote quite a bit in here about the why of the app and a lot of the science behind it, and then also some of the usage scenarios like we've been talking through in this video. And then below that, you'll have the user subscription status. So if you're still in your trial period, it will say trial active and how much time is left in the 14-day trial. Or if you've subscribed, it will show you what subscription you have. And then there's the Manage Subscriptions button below, which opens the subscription sheet. And you can pull this up at any time. If for some reason during the 14-day trial you want to pull that up and just subscribe, you can do it. And it'll show you your different options. The Restore Purchase button is in there. So if you get a new phone and you want to restore the subscription to this new phone, that's where you would do that. It would go to your account, see that you've subscribed, and let the app know. And then at the bottom is the discount code. So again, if you are a nurse in the military, a student, or an artist, which just hilariously happens to describe my entire immediate family, total coincidence, or if you're just, having a hard time, just send me an email and I will send you a discount code. So what else do we have? Then there's the logout button, the logout option, and that's to log you out of your user account. So just the sign in, sign out functionality, not the subscription. And then you could delete for whatever reason. If you want to get rid of the app, you can delete, and you want your user information gone, you can delete the user. You have to have signed in recently for that to work, so that it's got a good connection and with what it's deleting. If you want to delete your subscription, Apple requires you to go and do that in your iCloud settings on your phone. You go into your iCloud area and you'll see all your subscriptions, and there you'll see Spindles, and you can cancel it there if you want to cancel your subscription. Then you have the color mode if you prefer dark or light or wanted to follow your system settings. And then lastly, the exciting terms and privacy policy, which is always fun to read, and the app version information. So that's it. This has been quite an undertaking to build this app and to create all the music, and it's been a real hoot. And I hope you find it useful and enjoy it. And if you have any feedback, ideas for things you'd like to hear, or ideas of how I could change the way the app works, please reach out to me and let me know. And if you're using the app and enjoying it, please leave a review for me on the App Store. That really helps raise the app up in the App Store so more people see it. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this app.